Let's go. No better Sunday guest to chat some tackle football. And by the way, I stole this shirt from your closet. It's the only shirt that you and I.
Yeah, I don't even wear mine anymore.
It doesn't fit.
No, it does not fit.
Oh my God, just losing weight, looking great. Your biggest takeaway from South Carolina was what?
You should have blown them out, and you couldn't because you make horrible decisions.
And
thought you run the ball better. Thought you did some good things, broke some tackles in the backfield. I felt like you should have at minimum beat them 34 to 10.
I agree.
And I think that you just keep finding ways to get yourself in trouble, and it's constantly backfiring on you.
Should LSU make a change at quarterback?
I mean, I have no clue. I don't get to see Michael Van Buren every day, so I don't know. I'd love for him to get a series.
Right.
Because, quite frankly, I'm about tired of all the excuse making.
For who? Garrett?
Just him and the offense in general.
I agree, especially if you are a year 5 player. And I would say, and this is a problem that I have, is that every week I have to keep asking myself, was this interception worse than the last one? Because I thought the Florida INT was going to be the worst one. Then you have the Ole Miss INT, which to me was worse than the Florida one. And then you have the South Carolina INT, which I think was worse than both of them. Do what?
Which one? The RPO one or the Kyle Parker?
No, by far the RPO one. By far. Mm-hmm. That is one of the worst red zone INTs I've seen.
It's also one of the most selfish.
And that's the other thing. And I've used that word before to describe the Florida INT in particular, where you just have to eat that. Okay. So look, the RPO one is very strange. Going back and rewatching the game from as many angles as I possibly could. It's wild to me that you are responsible for these safeties. So the way that works, and we'll talk about it in the film study tomorrow at 6 p.m., he is looking at the safety. And if the safety comes down, you throw it most of the time. Mm-hmm. But even if that safety does indeed come down, if your run game is starting to get hot, which it was, you had the big Jawan Johnson run, and then you had a run before that went for a couple of yards. And it's midway through the fourth quarter and your defense is playing amazing, I think you have to be a gazillion% sure that ball to Trades is open. So it's hard for me to get there in defending Garrett, because I've defended Garrett for so many.
They're going to defend it by saying that Cohen Eccles missed a block and he shouldn't have given it, and 2 people were on the read. He should have given the football. That's the worst part of it, because just because you miss a block, the defender sits there, and you just ran the ball for 56 yards.
I do have one hypothetical about that play. Okay, so you are right. Cohen Eccles
if he would have thrown it to Kyle Parker,
that's hard. That's a hard throw.
It's
doable.
Well, you're running an RPO where you turn your back to the 2 guys that you need to throw the football to.
And then
so he opens up. So you got doubles right. You have Green on the line of scrimmage in the slot. He runs a slant.
Yeah.
So you have 2 guys. Kyle Parker runs a quick in or a slant, whatever they want to call it. You have a fade by Anderson. Okay, and then you have the slant behind it. Why in the good heavens to Betsy would you ever, and I mean ever, open up an RPO where the 2 routes that are mainly involved in it, that he's turning his back to the RPO? That's number one. But then number two, You have a fade route by Nick Anderson. So if he's doing the RPO and he's got to open up to do the read, then he's got to flip his hips and then throw the fade. So you talk about Joe Sloan play calling. Let's break it down. What a dumb play call. What an absolutely dumb schematical play call. So
Okay.
you mean to tell me that you're opening up with two guys instead of with Garrett's back to it, that now he's got to look out the corner of his eye? And guess what? It doesn't absolve Garrett because your eyes are on the safety. So you can't know, but then you also got to know that you don't flip your hips and then throw it into coverage.
I do have
Sloan takes a little bit in that too, Carter. He does. Right. It's a stupid play call.
Okay. I will defend and I will keep some of this to myself, okay? Because there were a few extra people with play sheets this weekend, which was
Brian
something.
Kelly did not call plays, confirmed.
I know he didn't, but I have to give this LSU offensive brain trust a lot of credit.
Oh, it was the best game they called all year.
Okay. Joe really looked at himself in the mirror and said, I need to quit using Trey'Dez Green as a tight end and use him as a damn wide receiver, which he is, a big slot. All right.
They took Power Sharp out the game.
Right. So that was one big change. Trey'Dez Green is not comfortable in that role. He played wide receiver in high school. Use him as a freakish wide receiver. And not only did Joe use him as a wide receiver, he did a really good job of disguising using him as a tight end and then setting him up as a receiver, as evidenced by the touchdown in the red zone. It wasn't just the fact that it was a fade ball. It was you're in 14 personnel. You have Giovanni Peterson, a walk-on tight end. That's the shit I'm talking about. That's high-level stuff. That's what freaking Bobby Petrino, I get chills thinking about it. That's what Bobby Petrino, Josh Hyde, that's what the elites do. So I give Sloan a lot of credit. He did a lot of good things. One final thing, because Garrett did play better than he did versus Ole Miss. I'm not just trashing him, but it's hilarious that last year, the way we feel about Garrett after that South Carolina game, which you and I have gone back and forth on how good Garrett was in the South Carolina game, okay? I thought he was better than a lot of people give him credit for, but that's last year. But I do find it ironic that if the pick six penalty didn't happen, the entire narrative around that game last year changes. The funny thing about this, Blake, and nobody has mentioned this, is that the same thing applies here. Because I will tell you, I've rewatched that RPO. Yes, it does. Okay, hear me out.
You're not taking points off the board with the interception. Not for them.
Right, but
I mean, the game's over if it stands.
Yes. One thing I do find interesting, though, is that, yes, the South Carolina safety made one whale of a play. A better safety is keeping his feet right there, though. All right? There's some safeties that are undercutting that, keeping their feet, and that's a big return.
Oh.
That's a big return.
You got to hope that Kyle Parker, who's on an in route, can tackle him.
Right. And Kyle did have an angle, but that's a really tough tackle to make. It would have been.
You'd have to run him down. And then, by the way, you don't have a receiver on the other side with a fade. By the way, why are you running a fade route without Barrion Brown?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of things about the play.
Cortez got chewed out multiple times in this game. And it's why I went to the press conference on Monday and said, hey, are you gonna limit the rotation? See, people don't realize what your boy out here does. When did Bauer Sharp go in the slot? Why do you think I went there on Monday? Because I knew that they were going to try to reduce the rotation. Cortez got his ass chewed because he started doing it in the second half when they got some momentum and they had to call a timeout, and he got his ass chewed because of it.
And I don't want to say who the player's fault it was, because that's a tough spot for him to be in, but you got to line up correctly.
I got to be honest with you. It doesn't matter anymore, because why are you rotating receivers?
Right. It's
Kyle Parker's in the game. If you want to do Chris Hilton or Barryon or whatever, do it, but do it one at a time.
Yeah.
Stop sending in platoon calls. It's not working.
So,
but in reference to the interception, number one, it's a horrible play design. Just got to be real. It's a horrible play design. It's number one. Number two, he should have given it. Number three, Carter, Aaron Torres. I do not know Mr. Torres.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Torres put out a tweet 2 weeks ago that Garrett Nussmeier has thrown 15 interceptions in 10 SEC games. He had his 11th SEC game, and he had 2 interceptions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it gets to a point where, brother, either you got to move on in reference to, hey, man, you're going to, unless he shows you something different, you have to assume that Garrett Nussmeier is just going to not be any different, injury or no injury.
Right. Okay. And I want to fully clarify my final thought on it. It's I do think, let's just use Michael Taft, for instance, even though we don't play Texas, okay? I think he's keeping his feet. I think he's talented enough to keep his feet and really turn that into
Carter, Tamarcus Cooley's keeping his feet.
So it's tough. I know I don't want to play like the hypothetical game, but it is a hypothetical that would make you feel totally different about that.
And let me ask you this question. We get the ball back, by the way. Let me ask, why in the Sam hell did we keep throwing the football? You had a 23-yard run by Caden Durham, which everybody's like, well, Blake, the offensive line sucks. He had to break a tackle in the backfield. Did you watch Indiana?
And
did you watch Texas, by the way? Do you watch college football in general?
Well, a lot of people don't, Blake. They just watch LSU and then they
exactly. No, they don't. You have to look what happens when Caden Durham broke an arm tackle in the backfield. Boo! It's Blue's Clues. We found a clue. You run the football.
The O-line got hot there at the end.
They started messing them up, Carter.
Thompson
now 56 has got. I sent it to you, I think.
What? Well, I know I was saying on the final Caden Durham big run was his best block of the season.
By Eccles?
No. I mean, it was a run to the right, and Josh had a good block.
Okay.
So, look, I do want to say this before we go to another topic here. Garrett did play better. He did do some really good things.
Yeah, the running was great.
The runs were big. You also shout him out for, battling through the limps and whatever else you might have been dealing with. He's
always limping. When he gets hit, he's always limping.
But I give him credit for whatever he's dealing with, powering through it.
Yeah.
And he did do some really good things. Okay. But at the same time, you've got to get past like the next play. So, for instance, the Chris Hilton drop was big, okay, but then after that, the Xavier miss was also very big, and that would have been a first. That would have been a first down.
Kyle Parker, and then that's
and coming. Then the INT, yes, exactly. So the INT was the next play. Yeah.
Well, coming off of the dot that he threw to Caden Durham,
which was very fortunate.
Chris Hilton post. Caden Durham throw, which I thought was a little bit of luck. I don't,
No, it's on a throw like that. There's it's silly to not share that there's some kind of luck involved in that.
Right.
Yeah.
You miss Xavier, so it's one step forward, 2 steps back. So Chris misses it, okay, which Cortez overreacts to drops way too much. Okay, that's a whole different topic for another day. Cortez has got to be better. I'm done with that too. But it gets to a situation where You make those 2 plays, and you're like, oh, shit, Nuss is back. Because the throw to Hilton, even though incomplete, let's just be honest, everybody's like, oh, he's healthy. I know every LSU fan saw him uncork that one and said, oh, he's back. Tell me I'm wrong.
It looked good.
Yeah, you tell me but it doesn't matter because you talked about last season. If he had 2 interceptions in this game, but he was relatively not a mistake-worthy quarterback, we wouldn't be having the conversations that we're having. Carter, 17 picks? 17. Carter, he's going to end, if he stays on this pace, in 2 starts in the SEC or multiple starts in the SEC, going to be what? 18, 19 starts in the SEC. Or playing time in the SEC, I should say. SEC games. Carter, he's going to hit over 20 picks.
I do also want to point out the positives, right?
Okay, let's point out the positives. Before we get to the positives, though.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, and we've already done a couple, but go on ahead.
Yeah. The bad is outweighing the good. The bad outweighed the good last year.
I disagree with that, but
no, you're 8-4. You can't. I love you. I love you.
Like I will. But I don't want to talk about last year. No one wants to talk about last year.
But
everyone wants to talk about this.
You gotta get Carter. You're gonna have to eat that one. Let me tell you why you got to eat that one. You got to eat it because you went 8-4 and it's not changing. So all the things that we had are inexcusable. They're inexcusable in the sense of you went 8-4. If you don't throw 3 interceptions against A&M, you might win.
Oh, I will wholeheartedly always point to A&M.
Okay, so then the losses matter.
Yes, that one is okay. A good chunk of it is on him. I agree.
The good is not.
But I also don't want because both of our audiences have heard us debate last year.
Okay,
what I do agree with though is that the things that he did bad last year are still things he's doing even worse this year. And what makes this very concerning is normally college quarterbacks that have glimpses of excellence like Garrett had last year, they normally get better. They normally do. It's
when
rare.
They put in work, they do.
So you do begin to question quite a bit. Now, look, does it hurt that you no longer have Mason Taylor and Will Campbell? Is the offensive tackle room a mess? And are you working with one of the lesser experienced, talented play callers? Yes, all of that is a part of it, but it's terrible. And I know you have friends in the NFL. I don't know how many teams are using a first-round pick on them
Carter,
compared to last year where there
Carter,
was.
No, this is the biggest lie. There's no team that the connect I have with a pretty prominent GM in the NFL. All right. They weren't remotely thinking or talking about him being a first-round pick last year, even at the end of the year. If he would have came out, he probably would have gone 5th or 6th round. He would not have gone in the first round. He wouldn't have been close.
He had some buzz.
But you know who else had buzz? Lightyear. And I
knew you were going to do
okay, but it gets to a point where, Carter, he's not a good quarterback right now. Can he make exceptional plays? Yes. But the turnovers are the turnovers are the turnovers. By the way, that's just interceptions. He better praise Jesus up above that the fumble went his way. And you see situations like that about the red zone. Carter, you went in the red zone 4 times and got 6 points. You got to the 3-yard line, the 1-yard line 3 times, and you got 3 points.
Yeah, but the Jawan, that's not on him.
Yeah, that's not on him, but it doesn't matter.
That matters there.
It doesn't matter in this context because I got to be real with you. The first one, he misses Trey Green. You get a fumble, he misses Trey.
You're talking about on the first.
On the first, when they get the fumble and it's third down, he misses Trey. I don't want to hear an option. I've asked. It's not an option. It's an out by Trey. He misses.
So
I've asked.
So you are gazillion percent certain.
1,000% certain. That's why BK lost his shit.
Even though there was one assistant on camera saying sit, which would be
no, he's supposed to run an out.
So you
don't sit in cover 3. You would only sit in a cover 2. They don't run cover 2. You would also sit in man. They're not in man.
No, you wouldn't sit in man there.
You would
sit in zone, or you would
if
sit
you're
in
3rd and 4.
If there's an open pocket of space, yeah, receivers
if
sit.
You're 3rd and 4 and they're man and they're off of you, you would sit. Yes, you would, unless they're like bumping you. But no one's going to bump
but if they're on you, yeah, obviously. But you are 100% certain that Trey
1,000% certain. And regardless, see, that's what we get with Garrett, though. What we get with Garrett, it's somebody else's. Carter, he's the one making the mistakes. So I'm not, even if it was Trey, but I did ask, even if it was, it's still missed. And he's got no pressure. And you got to know that he is open enough to take the second or the half a second. What is he going to choose?
So what? So now let's get to solutions. We've talked about all the positives.
Or we can talk about positives. I know we kept going negatives, but
no, I've shared all the positives. The QBRs are good. The running was good. There were some really good throws in this game. The red zone execution on Trey's first touchdown was really good. All those things are indeed very true. Okay. Obviously, Kyle stepping in was big for this team. But we then get into a few other things surrounding this offense. We say hi to Dane. Okay. We say hi to H-Town Creole. I think I've seen Mr. Sibley Butler.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Shout out Brandon Taylor. I am of the belief that LSU wants to make the Weston Davis project work at right tackle. And there are quite a few people, Blake, that would say, hey, Carius Kern stepped in versus Ole Miss, had some rough patches. And then Weston Davis steps back in and has, I will say, coming off a broken orbital head situation. He was somewhat better last night versus arguably his toughest matchup of the season. Would you make a change at right tackle?
I don't know, because their excuse is going to be that Kern doesn't know the plays, and Josh having to tell him every time is tipping off the defense. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think their fear is Josh having to tell, then that's one thing. But there's other solutions, right? Meaning, like, give him a wristband.
Here's what I would say is someone who's followed this really closely, obviously followed closely as well. There are some concerns about the mental aspect of it, right? Because this is a guy that's practiced a lot of guard, and then he's learning tackle. Carius is a good kid. I mean,
the question is, do you give Chester a chance? What you're really trying to ask is about, do you replace him with anybody, right? And that's what you're really asking.
And here's my concern with it. Okay, it might just be me, but there are quite a few teams in the SEC that have had massive issues at right tackle. I mean, ginormous issues at right tackle, and they don't switch their guys out either. Offensive line.
There does come a point in time where you got to let a guy. You're going to have to suffer through a 5-star guy battling.
Yeah, and that's what LSU is just hoping and praying for at this situation, or at this time in this situation. So Weston's not good, not a good football player though right now. He's just not a good ball player.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say
I mean, so we moved to left guard. Do you stick with Cone Eccles over Mabenga and a few other?
At the current moment, yes. But I still think that Carius Kern physically is, Yeah. I mean, I think the concern is him in pass pro, really. But at either position,
there's going to be – it's the thing to your point about Kern is – and the audience, they're going to say, hey, we're already struggling enough at that spot, at both of those spots. So why not try the guy with the higher upside, who people that have gone to practice and
I mean, I agree. I want him to play. I think he should be a guard, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was.
It doesn't fix your right tackle problems because he's not a tackle. He's a guard. So if you're going to try to find a tackle, you got to find a tackle.
Yeah. So I
give DJ Chester a rep. But you also, if you take Weston out, do you kill the kid's confidence?
I would say the exact opposite of that, because when you're struggling as bad as he's struggling, your confidence is already shot, right? I mean, it gets to a point where you're like, God, I am struggling so much, because once again, I got into it a little bit on social media today. Are all these guys getting paid well to play at a Power 4 university? Sure. Okay. They're living really good lives, but they want to make this work. They still have feelings. Okay. I feel for Weston while you're struggling and you're just out there. All right. And then you miss a game because your face gets shattered, basically in a pregame situation. And now you're coming back in and you're still struggling. And
against the best edge rusher in the country.
And that's your first game back. Dylan, a guy that's going to for sure be a first-round pick when he has a shot to next year. So it's difficult. You do sympathize with it, but he's a bad football player right now. And I think
gotta do something.
I think it's tough. And what's really hard for me, Blake, is that last year you did the same thing with the guy that played the most snaps on offense, never coming out, and DJ Chester at center. And now this is another year where you have a guy at right tackle who just cannot have a good game to save his life.
Let me ask you this question. If I would have told you on Thursday that you're going to beat South Carolina 38-10, what would your honest opinion have been?
Oh, that you hit a few deep shots and things got rolling.
Okay. What's the difference now that you didn't, because you got to the 1 yard line and you fumbled the bag? Is he playing bad enough? I think he's playing bad. Is he playing bad enough for where you couldn't have scored 38 to 41 points last night?
Yeah. I think
he's not, Carter, because you got the ball to the 1 yard line and you got the ball in the red zone 4 times and you got 6 points.
No. I'm with
he's
you.
not.
I'm with you, Blake, but you can score in spite of. And look, here's an example I will use as someone that watches almost every single snap of this guy's career. I'm one of the few LSU people that has done this. Is that last year there was a 5-star offensive tackle that initially signed with LSU who was horrendous in year 2 of his career. And then this year he will be all conference, and his name is Lance Hurd. Okay. Lance Hurd, I will gazillion% tell you, had quite a few Weston Davis types of games at Tennessee. Am I right or wrong about that?
Yeah, now look at him.
Yes. he was so ass. And now this year, and he would probably sit here and tell you that he's a pretty straightforward guy. I've interviewed him before. And now he'll be all conference. He's making himself a lot of money. He's playing that freaking well right
that's
now.
that's what I'm asking you.
Yes. So
is it so bad like that you couldn't score 38 points? I think they need to roll with him. It's going to be bad, but you're going to have to roll with him. Sorry. And I thought they did a good job protecting him.
Yeah, there were some chips and stuff like that mixed in.
Yeah, they did a good job protecting him. I got to be real with you. Some of the checks actually threw him off.
That happens a lot more than you think.
Yeah.
Like where a guy chips and then now your set's messed up.
Well, he's setting, and because Bauer's sharp on the one pressure that Stewart got, Bauer hits him, and then when he's setting, he just pushes him into the hole, and he keeps his feet, and he's got a free shot, and then Weston's having to react. Like, people blame Weston on that one. That's not on Weston. That's actually on Bauer, because when you're chipping, you're supposed to just punch. You're not supposed to hit.
And I'm not. I'll also say I'm not excusing Weston Davis playing bad. It's just there is a path forward.
There is
with some of these growing pains, even though it does look so bad.
I mean, you have a situation next year.
If you were to go watch Lansert in particular versus Arkansas, you would think he was the worst offensive tackle to ever play in the SEC.
Yeah, there were LSU fans that were glad that we got rid of him, which we didn't do.
No, that was
yeah.
You know, but you know, I do think it's interesting because you know South Carolina fans got tired of their offensive line coach. They made a decision to move on. Now this is a big evaluation period for the staff. Where
I don't think Brad Davis after recruiting is here after the signing period.
So you think LSU's moving on after this season?
I do.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yes, I think at this point, Brian Kelly will have so much pressure to make multiple offensive staff changes, and I'll leave it at that. Okay. Defensively, what stood out to you, if anything concerned you?
You just contained probably the best athlete at quarterback. That dude's a dog, bro. I mean, you held another team to to 10 points or under.
Thanks to Grimes for the $20 super. Thanks for all the supers, by the way. I saw Dane throw one in there. Dane's, of course, Dane might be your number one fan.
Might be. You're taking me duck hunting.
What?
Yeah, he's taking me duck hunting in Arkansas.
Okay. Come pick me up.
Nah. You with a shotgun and camouflage?
What? You know nothing about me and my hunting background. You know.
Okay. What's your hunting background?
I will tell you this. Okay. What's
the difference between a wood and a mallard?
A wood and a what?
See.
You mispronounced the word. It's Mally. You didn't say Mally. See? It's a wood and a Mally.
Okay, so you're making fun of my speech impediment.
No, I didn't. It's just
so you're joking about
me as an experienced.
You deserve to be canceled.
You did not pronounce it correctly.
You deserve to be canceled because you're making fun of a speech impediment.
I did not. I have a speech impediment.
What can you not say?
I am the experienced hunter.
Say hippopotamus.
I can't spell restaurant. I mean, I still think asparagus begins with an E. I mean, come on.
Asparagus? I get it.
Yeah. But I will tell you that the best, Carius Kern will beat this guy. But the best LSU player from Arkansas is from the duck hunting capital of the world, and Brett Helms.
Okay?
Yeah. Stuttgart. And Bert Jones's best friend and hunting buddy is a close family friend of mine. So I have some.
Dane's trying to take you. He said we're going to go timber duck hunting.
I don't know what that is. I've never shot a gun in my life. I'm serious. I've never shot a shotgun. I have once. and the guy deserved it. So we move on.
He's in the conversation. Jacob Crane is the Franklinton quarterback. He's in the conversation. I mean, he's not like, I don't think he could play at LSU, but he could grow and like go to like a UL.
Will dude, I do since he did super, because I hate talking like recruiting in the middle of season. Okay, but I do want to bring up that I call high school games on Friday nights. So a few weeks ago, I called a game from Carius Kern's home turf in Marion, Arkansas. Love that staff. They have really good facilities and all that. But I got 3 FaceTimes from people at Peyton Houston games saying, "Dude,
went off,
dude," and like literally people calling me and say, "Carter, this dude is having an out of body experience." One is Black Goatee, who's a big supporter of ours. Zion Imaging 360 Spin Booth Experience. Check it out, dude. It's crazy how many times people are like, "Dude, I am watching something truly special."
Yeah, he's special. And the crazy thing is that I don't know if the current offensive staff was going after him more than another quarterback not named Elijah Haven.
I will. We move on.
I mean,
no, I will say this. Elijah Haven's really good. Really
he
good.
is. Bob's different. He's different, man.
And Colton Nussmeier is also talented. He's a fun watch, lefty, all that good stuff. But
we got to move on.
What do you mean?
Meaning like we got to move on from like, hey man, like you got Pop, like you trying to cater to Garrett or the Nussmeiers because his dad's the OC in New Orleans? Like one kid clearly looks like the better quarterback.
I will say this, okay? Even if you take out the 800-yard Pop Houston game from last year, per my own database, there was only one quarterback as a senior in high school who had better stats in a season than Pop Houston had last year as a sophomore. It's Jaden's final year at in California.
Damn.
So, and trust me, Joe Burrow's high school numbers are cartoonishly good. Ryan Perlew, I will always say, is the best high school Louisiana athlete. But
best Louisiana high school athlete, I beg to differ.
Oh, that dude was a beast at baseball.
He was not the best athlete. Could he throw 93 and hit tanks like Chad Jones?
Okay. We're gonna do this.
Chad Jones, because not only can he light you up at safety, he could also throw the ball 93 miles an hour.
Oh,
Ryan Perlew can't throw no 93 miles an
hour. Apparently Ryan was like a beast baseball player.
He was really good, but he wasn't Chad Jones.
But I will never debate high school baseball with you. Considering that's your family. That's a blood.
Don't do it. Chad Jones is the GOAT of athletes. He's the Louisiana Bo Jackson.
So LSU defensively.
Yep.
Thought it was a really good performance.
I did too.
It is interesting how much the Tiger Stadium crowd, and everyone's bitching about this, the crowd left in the third quarter or whatever. What I would tell you is there's something about it that players fumble the football on their own, false start penalties galore, all those different things. It matters, okay? And that helps out the defense in a major way. We can all attest to that. The tackling wasn't great, but that comes when you play South Carolina. When Sellers is a quarterback, he's going to break a gazillion tackles. So I think those.
Poor Jack Pyburn, man.
I mean, it's going to.
At least you're getting hands on him.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because it comes off severely biased when, for reasons. But I thought Jack did a good enough job slowing him down. Like Sellers never gets brought down by the first guy.
Ever.
Never. It does. Anyone that's actually watched him knows that. Okay. You've honestly just have to slow him the frick down.
Mm-hmm.
And at least Pyburn did that some. Now, if he were sitting right here, he would hate that I said that. He would tell you, hey, I need to bring him down, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he did a damn good job. I thought he had a really good game. Obviously, you do worry about some of the run fitting issues, the long touchdown run, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think in college in particular, when you have a secondary that's borderline transcendently good, it just covers up everything, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's just that simple.
Yeah, I don't. I'm kind of. They've kind of made me speechless because there's not like one area like that collectively that one player not named Mansour Delane is doing. Like, what do I mean by that? Like, I think collectively as a unit, they're all playing very well, right? Like, there's not like a two sack day performance like Braden Swinson got you last year. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's also situations where, like, well, Bernard Good makes a play here, Perkins makes a play here, Patrick Payton's generating a shit ton of pressure. The Weeks brothers make good tackles. Woodland makes a good play on a fade route. TaMarcus Cooley pick. Like, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, it's a collective. I mean,
it's a collective unit. So you're like, what do you want me to say? Okay, so they had one bad run fit. Like,
and
okay.
And it didn't happen again. You know,
right. And I got to be real with you. I think the effort's at a highest level, and got to be real with you. Have you seen Walter Mathis?
I was going to bring him up too. That's crazy. Like,
I mean, did you notice that they were rotating in Walter Mathis more than Don McKinley last night?
It's such a heavy signal. Like it, and I was live when I was like, damn, dude, they're playing 91 a lot early. They're getting them in there. And
out of a bye.
And what makes that really impressive is it's harder to do the shit that he's doing when you're 290. Like he's not fully developed yet. I mean, that's a lot of just raw talent and ability. So, you know, compared to if he was a 310, 320 pounder, which it would still be impressive, but that tells me that there's upside, right? There's real upside.
But his effort is so insane. The tackle that he made on Sellers on the Harold Perkins and Patrick Payton miss on
dude,
the
that was a big play. I know exactly.
It was a massive play, dude, because he's got green grass and he tackles him and it's only a gain of 1. Like, that's some elite level shit. And remember, everybody's like, oh, man, Bo Davis didn't recruit well. Well, he's got a true freshman play on this defense just like others do.
No, you knew one of the DTs was going to be good. That Bo Davis recruited. It's dude. He's now Walter Mathis can
yeah,
play.
He's a good player.
He sat on a double pause. That was really
really good double team.
Yeah, I mean, and I was like, damn,
from both sides.
It's so hard to do that as a young true freshman, non-space eater. Like you have to have, it's not just strength and not just ability. You got to have a mixture of both. And that's really hard to do. So shout out to him. Now, before we let you skedaddle.
Okay.
Which is still the widest word that I use. Dude, I love skedaddle. Dude, I freaking love skedaddle. Vanderbilt thoughts before we.
I don't really have any right now. I need to kind of process my mindset, to be real with you. I mean, listen, you better be fundamentally sound, and they're coming off of a bye week with a really well-coached staff. And to be real with you, I think Bama's better than you offensively, and they gave them issues. Turn the ball over again. Keep doing it. I double dog dare you. I double dog dare them to keep turning the ball over like that, because this defense doesn't suck. God, they're top 30 in the country in run defense.
One thing that concerns me about them is they are an experienced bunch. So they had a lot of guys from last year's team that really did some special things for Vanderbilt. So they're really bought in. And one Vandy source felt the game in Tiger Stadium was a little bit more winnable than they thought.
You only beat him by 7.
And Pavia sucked. He sucked. Compared to how good he was last year, he sucked in that game.
He's still not that great. Sorry.
Oh, okay, so you're not as high on him as
you make him a passer and you make him throw the football like you did Sellers last night, and he's not going to win you games.
Dude, they are going to pepper the flats with those split zone looks.
Yeah. Shuffle pass.
Yes, which
better be able to cover a tight end.
Yes. So the Mason Taylor special, that's what got Sellers his first big throw, and that's what honestly created the rushing touchdown. So LSU's going to see a lot of that. And they're going to bleed that play clock. They'll be snapping that football with a millisecond on the clock. Check out Ruffino and Joe show, the major Penn State situation. I'm going to give you a spicy take or question, because I know it's floated in your mind.
Did Brian Kelly go to Penn State?
Yes. Do you think?
No. It's unrealistic, in my opinion, of the facts that I know him to be right now. What's the buyout? What's BK's buyout?
North of $30 million.
So you're going to pay $80 million for your next head coach, and you're going to get Brian Kelly?
I think it's north of 30. I have not checked in a while.
Let's just say it is.
Right. Okay.
Let's just say it's $20 million. You're going to spend $70 million to go get your next head coach?
I do want to bring up that
this is Matt Rule's job to lose.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, he has heavy connections to Penn State.
He played there.
Played, alum, all that stuff. Man, dude, I just love the Nebraska job. I do. Like,
it's not a top 30 job.
It's not, but it's one of those jobs where if you do make it work there, you get the Dabo treatment, right? Where you are given such a long leash, where if you go to Penn State, you've got to get across the finish line. You just do. So, I mean, do you think Signetti or someone like that would?
Signetti's 64. He's a Pittsburgh guy, though.
Yeah. So, outside of that, one SEC take that stood out to you.
I want to say something so bad, but
no, go on ahead, dude. This is unfiltered. You can say whatever you can.
I think Ty Simpson's playing the way that we all thought Garrett would.
Oh, I'm with you on that. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone would disagree with you. And especially with Ryan Williams not being a factor.
They went 9 of 18 on conversion downs, and all 3 of his touchdowns came on 3rd or 4th down. There's not a more prepared quarterback in the country more than Ty Simpson. Doesn't exist.
Yeah, so I will say I did on the SEC channel, I don't really focus too much on Alabama. I do Oklahoma, Georgia, Tennessee, Arkansas. Those are the main squeezes for me. And I sat down and watched Ty Simpson watch that whole Missouri game. And he's got such a command of everything. And the 4th down throw wasn't the hardest throw in the world. He had time, but there wasn't a whole lot of room. He's making this work with true freshman receivers. It would be one thing if this was Ryan Williams with the most legendary true freshman touchdown everyone's going to remember this side of Devonta Smith, right? But Simpson is making a lot happen. That offensive line really had issues. So it's borderline special. It's borderline special what he's doing right now.
Yeah, he's been playing really good.
And I saw my viewership go down. When you glaze Bama on an LSU channel, you better.
That's why I didn't want to say it.
It's. I mean,
People don't want to hear the truth.
it's stupendously good how good he's playing right
Yep,
now.
I agree.
And I will say, it's a Jaden Daniels type of thing. You lose to Florida State week 1, and then you're playing literally shutout elite. I mean, just there's not. It's just not
that job might come open.
Florida State,
Brother, he lost again.
but they don't have money. They don't, Blake. They don't. They. I'm very lucky from the Florida State matchups to have met quite a few Florida State folks, and they're like, Carter, I don't know if we can do it. They're broke.
I mean,
school.
didn't they give Willie 35, 40 million?
Yeah, but that's what they're telling me. I don't.
If you can give Willie Taggart 40 million, you can give this situation 40 million.
But with NIL and everything now,
I mean,
and then the massive staff changes that they made.
Then why does anybody think that LSU can do it?
What?
He said 60 million if you fired BK.
I mean, I will say for almost every school, there is one person at every school that can, I feel, at the big schools can magically come up with it just to get it done. I feel like that definitely exists at LSU, but I can't say a gazillion percent if that exists at Florida State.
Why not? Why not?
So if Norvell got fired, I think he would have some suitors. It's interesting what the market will be for James Franklin. I will say I dropped a grenade in an Arkansas group chat today.
No way.
And
Franklin shouldn't take that job.
Oh, dude, I'm taking that. I am keeping that buyout money and just enjoying life.
Go get on TV. Go do what Urban Meyer did. Go retire for a year. Go on TV, then go back.
It's a cushy life. I will always.
By the way, get paid another $20 million in TV just to go on there.
I always never feel bad for the head coach. I feel for the assistants every single time. I never at any.
Well, where's Jim Knowles going to go? Jim Knowles will be the hottest name if they don't want to retain him. Everybody looking for a DC. So, all right, I gotta go put kiddos to bed.
All right, buddy.
What does it say? I'll.
No, don't know. You're ready.
No, go ahead. We're good. We got technically 5 minutes. How much OU lost to figuring stuff out versus OU got exposed? I think OU got exposed.
Results were shaky early.
Yeah, I mean, but they're not running. They're running the football really a little bit worse than you are, but Mateer's kept them in that. They're only running the ball for 2.1 yards per carry, and they have a quarterback that can move. You don't.
I was able to get my Mateer film study for this week done, and he was so bad. Oh my God, he was so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was a lot of different factors outside of his own injury as to why he was bad in that game. But if Pegasus, if you want to see it, you know where to find it. Blake, we'll see you, man.
See you, buddy. Peace.
I'm on with them every Tuesday night on AYS at 7:30. Okay. Yeah, Mateer was bad. Okay. Now, I do have one John Mateer hot take. I do have a few more LSU hot takes. Once again, before we skedaddle, always good to have Blake on for Sunday nights. And one big concern I have for LSU versus Vanderbilt right after. PHL Nation, it's time to lock in and get serious really quickly with our friends at Fortified Gulf Coast and FortifiedGulf.com. This is my buddy Ramey. He is one of many Fortified Gulf Coast inspection professionals that are doing something to help you not only save your home, but your memories.
The Fortified program got started about 13 years ago. We adopted it here in New Orleans about 2.5 years ago. It's a more advanced way of doing the roof. It adds an extra layer of protection, whereas even if a hurricane was to pull the shingles off this roof, water will still not get into the house.
So yes, your establishment is important, but what about the things you can't replace? That family scrapbook or that painting that's been handed down from Meemaw to Papaw and to you. It is important to protect that today with Fortified Roofing. And while this seems like a priceless asset, did you know it can actually save you on your homeowner's insurance up to 37% if you are in South Louisiana? Just call the number 504-444-7563. That's 504-444-7563, or visit fortifiedgulf.com. That's Power Hour Network listeners and viewers. You might be consuming this content with that crick in your back that you've been trying to get rid of for so long. Take this as your sign today to book your appointment with LabordTherapy.com. In the Lafayette region, there is no one that you will find that cares more about any different type of pain that you might have than the team at LabordTherapy.com. Book today. Once again, that's LABORDE therapy.com, or you can visit one of their 5 locations all throughout the Lafayette region. Big thanks to Labord Therapy and Fortified Gulf Coast, and thanks to all our super chats. I am very concerned about Vanderbilt because we cannot take our crowd to the game. Okay, now, I don't think people understand how much you matter. Players crumble under the night sky of Tiger Stadium. They just do. They just do. And it was so big. It really was. Vanderbilt, 11 a.m. game. We've not played any 11 a.m. games up to this point. That's going to be a change. It's a weird stadium. It's a weird team that you have to play. They play such a different brand of football than basically everyone else in the Southeastern Conference. The concepts are similar, but they do a really good job of not beating themselves. Jerry Kill is the famed assistant. He is the giant slayer. Even though Vanderbilt is a slight favorite, I thought LSU was going to be a point favorite. Vanderbilt's a point favorite. I could see that really shading either way. This is going to be a tough game. Okay, that's all there is to it. It's going to be a tough game. And Vanderbilt felt like they were a good Diego Pavia game away last year for making the game interesting. Now, something else I'm concerned about is Vanderbilt did get a fake punt off on us last year, and South Carolina got a fake punt off of us this past year. These well-coached teams that are really good at pulling off upsets, Shane Beamer's pulled off quite a few since he's been at South Carolina. They're really good at the intermediate things, right? And I say intermediate, that's not the best word to describe it. They're good at the things that slip through the cracks proverbially. So you better be ready for that. Now, big shout out for me personally to Trey Green, because I pointed out that he has had a tough season. Since the Clemson breakout, the games in between that were bad. They were bad. But what changed was he was playing tight end in those games. He is not a tight end. All right. It's the same way people compare Rob Gronkowski to Travis Kelce. They are not the same player. Not just in the sense that they're not the same human beings. They're just not the same player. Okay. Travis Kelce would never be able to block as good as Rob Gronkowski. And Rob Gronkowski would never be the guy that Travis Kelce was as a route runner, and in particular, gassing past someone after the catch. Now, Gronk was really good with the ball in his hands after a catch, but they're different players, okay? Trey Green is not a tight end. They only call him a tight end. If you watch him in high school, he only played wide receiver. He is a wide receiver. We used him as a freaking wide receiver, and we disguised it well. We put him in a lot of different spots. He himself has always been a freak. I have never denied the talent. It's just, I have always felt that it was, to use a cliche, a square peg in a round hole. Let's not use him as a blocker, okay? So This is, and I'm already spoiling the film study for tomorrow. First play of the game. All right. What do? We lined up at 12 personnel and we tried to have him block, and he didn't block anybody. Okay. It's just not what he is. Okay. Give him the mother freaking rock and let him cook. Let him cook. Okay. Now, of course, Blake and I got into a disagreement about the third down situation early in the game. Should he have sat right there or should he have actually gone out? Blake, who's very well connected, said he should have gone out. I could see it differently. I could also see the way Garrett saw it as well. It's just how it's taught, and I had not heard differently. I will say I did see an assistant coach on the sideline basically say, sit, which would mean he needs to sit in that open space. After watching Mason Taylor for a few years, I think Mason would have sat there as well. Okay. But once again, Garrett could have missed it. I'm not going to blame either or. But obviously, Blake is one of my best friends. He wouldn't lead my audience astray. He says that he should have gone out. Then, of course, you had the jump ball at the end of the half. That, to me, was catchable. But he didn't make the play. It's hard to really blame him for anything else other than the missed block on the first play of the game. It was a phenomenal game. And Todd Politz, who is a great follow on Twitter, the LSU stat historian, this was the first 100-yard game from a tight end since I think the 90s, if I read correctly. That was a phenomenal game from Trey Green. And I don't think people understand how difficult it is to put together a game like that when you had been struggling and you had been dealing with the knee injury. All right. So what changes? Well, he was our offense. We really didn't show what we showed offensively in a while. Okay. Like, honestly, that was one thing that gave us 2 weeks to work with after a bye. So now I give Brian Kelly a lot of credit. He also mentioned in the press conference this week that we got to get him more involved, and we did. So kudos to the offensive staff for using him properly. And one big bonus about him, all right, is that what makes him very interesting is that he is unique. It's hard to find unique players. You don't play 6'7" tight ends that often in the SEC. You play a lot of 6'3" ones. And once again, I called him a tight end. I went back on my own laurels, if you will. He is a big slot wide receiver. Let's keep doing it, okay? It is going to be tougher. We also need to shout out Caden Durham. Holy moly, what a game from him. What a freaking game from Caden Durham. His performance well under the radar. And I'm glad I never wavered on my Caden Durham support, okay? He is the best running back on this team. The Juwan Johnson run was really good. Caden's probably scoring on that, okay? Still, it was a really good run by Juwan. But Caden Durham is so damn good. Tough year for him. Does he miss some holes from time to time? Sure. I would miss him too if they weren't open really at all a good chunk of the time. But he was good. Caden Durham had a good day. Thought Josh Thompson did some good things in this game. I thought Cohen Eccles had a few good blocks in this game. Obviously, we'll talk about Garrett at length tomorrow. And I want to talk to you guys in your comments as well. You know, I mentioned before the break a few other things that concern me defensively. And there's a deeper Patreon breakdown on this. Please go support the Patreon. If you love me, I understand it costs a little bit and so on and so on. You get Discord benefits. Discord's always lit. You will get this extra film study that I cut at 4 a.m. I had to cut 3 other film studies for the SEC channel. And what was interesting to me Okay. And you know I mean business when I get up on the camera here. What was interesting to me is that this LSU defense continues to play well while the snap counts remain high. Y'all, we have had 3 games versus Power 4 teams where we have held them to under 5 yards per play. That is hard to do. I did feel the linebacker play, and when you play South Carolina, the linebacker play is very shaky. The Sellers makes linebacker play so hard. It wasn't our best linebacker game. But then again, what was our worst linebacker game last year? Probably South Carolina. Probably. It's tough. It's tough. We have got to be better in the second level of the defense, right? We're very lucky to avoid that long run, and not avoid it, but rebound after that. What that run told me, though, is that as good as our secondary has been, they have been near perfect on those touchdown savers. Where they will miss those touchdown savers, though, is when they have such clear paths to our secondary. All right, so Kwan Lacey, his touchdown run of 20 whatever yards it was, the hole was wide open. Same thing for the run this past last night. So we have got to maintain our assignments. We just do. And we've got to stay sound. But, man, I thought our defensive line played really well last night. I really, really did think so. You know, you wish, and Blake referenced this as well, there's pros and cons of having a guy like Braden Swinson who is a better pass rusher than anyone that we have this year, okay? But, you know, when you have such an elite pass rusher like Swinson and he's not actually getting home for a game or two, your defense loses something big, where with the defensive line right now, it's a very collaborative defensive line. You have a bunch of different people coming in and out, making plays, okay? You know, I always say, and you know, I've shared some of the players that, you know, I'll speak to, the parents I speak to, and all of it. Probably the one that's become the you know, big part of our channel is Jack Pyburn, the interview that we did with him. Jack was amazing last night. He was amazing. That whatever it took, whatever the final number was, it paid off last night. I mean, honestly, there were so many things he did in that game that showed you that the modern NIL game, you can get ROI on some of your investments, because he was good in that game. He was good last night. These offenses that really challenge your run game and your run defense, holy moly. Jack did some amazing things. Patrick did as well. We already mentioned Walter Nolan. Jacobian Guillory was amazing last night. We'll see what the Bernard Gooden situation looks like with the injury at the end of the game. You know, injury talk on a Sunday night is stupid until, you know, the Monday Brian Kelly press conference, which indeed will be tomorrow. Also, I want to publicly address this. This came out of nowhere. You know, and this is from my personal life, okay? And I feel like it's important for me to be open with, you know, all my audience when it comes to some of my endeavors. So I am a DJ. I'm not Jazzy Jeff. I'm not anyone crazy. On Friday afternoon, I started playing around with the song that I like a lot that ended up being South Carolina's anthem, which is a song called Sandstorm. Okay, it's by Darude. Okay, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. I should know how to pronounce his name, but he's a famous EDM electronic DJ, and that is most of the music I listen to. Big EDM guy, which is weird because as a DJ, I'm a wedding DJ, and I don't play a lot of EDM. I just play the hits. So I was messing around, and I remixed sandstorm with the Louisiana Classic. Okay, can't say the words on air, but if you want, you can go to my Instagram account or Twitter account. You can find it at Power Hour LSU. And I've had a few of you ask, and I couldn't believe because I didn't think it sounded that great, but I say a few. 2 people have asked if they can download it somewhere. And the answer publicly is no. I would not put that up for downloading because, I would need to do some things to make it sound downloadable and sound, great over speakers. But I have made a few remixes for tailgates from the audience, but I cannot. I don't want to release it. Maybe it's something I could do in the off season, but it is very cool that some of you enjoyed it. It didn't go viral or anything like that, but the ones that did find it, I put that Chad Lavallee hit from the South Carolina game. I put the referees in there. It is crazy. It is crazy that South Carolina has not beaten LSU since '94. I mean, presidents were still getting, that good. That was it was been since that. Since South Carolina took care of business, since the Sony Walkman. Back in the day when the best game you could play was freaking Tetris. I'm kidding. There were some other games. Sonic was out on Sega Genesis. Nothing gets beat. Nothing beats that. But if you want to go listen to it, there you go. But I can't. I'm not going to release it. I'm not. I guess you could screen record it and then play it. But yeah, I'm going to get to as many comments as we possibly can. That's true, Germ. That's one way of looking at it. Let's go to Sibley. This is kind of an important question or an important comment. All right. Like, think about South Carolina. You're not going to win a natty at South Carolina. You had a minor window last year to do it. And I do think South Carolina was good enough to make a run. Hell, Penn State made a run. Notre Dame made a run. South Carolina was good enough. They were better than probably half of the team in the field last year. But they're never getting there. I've shared my Arkansas ties. I'm in an Arkansas group chat. They went golfing during the Tennessee game. They could you imagine going golfing during an LSU game? Be lucky that LSU has been relevant during your lifetime. All right. And here's something else is, let's say you don't enjoy the offensive product on Saturdays. It sucks. It's a tough watch. I get it. But guess what? On Sundays, I could turn on a Bengals game and watch Jamar Chase dominate with geriatric Joe Flacco. All right. I still live vicariously through the LSU legends in the NFL. And some of you are like, wait, Joe Flacco plays on the Browns. Yeah, no, he got traded to the Bengals. Let's go to Damian Obi. Welcome to the channel, Damian. I'm like, dude, I've got to show some love to this hat. And to our supers from earlier, Grimes, Sibley, Dane. Yo, we got to stop. We got to stop everything here. Show some love to Mr. Obi. Mr. Kenobi. Look at this hat. I mean, look at this hat. Look at all that knowledge inside of that hat. Look at that, man. Damian Obi went to Smokey the Bear and said, look, man, I got to cop that hat. It looks so unfreaking believably fresh, Damian. And you're right. It'll never happen. Here's some food for thought. Terrace Marshall would be by far, the best player on this offense. He would be. Obviously, Caden Durham, you guys know I think the world of him. Trades Green has arguably a ton of upside. Terrace Marshall was the fourth skill option on 2019 LSU. I mean, it's not going to happen. But this is where I disagree with you, Mr. Damian Obi, is that it did happen again. Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas Jr. That offense was so damn good. It's the closest we've seen since 2019 LSU. But we didn't make the playoff. And we ended up not really being that close to the playoff. But that's why it's important. You know, I got a cool follow on Twitter this week. I haven't asked him yet, but a member of 2019 LSU followed me on Twitter this week. It was pretty cool. And, you know, we've shared in the past our connection with Patrick Queen. He was on this channel before. And the LSU defense that year was very underrated. That was a very good unit. Okay. But really, that is such a cool hat. See, I wish my noggin could fit hats. High Point Media says, how does Happy Valley look to one Brian Keith Kelly? Okay. So let's talk about cost in life. All right. We do not, as sports fans, consider cost enough. I've gone on this rant a few times, but you've always got to factor in cost with every single athlete and thing you talk about in sports. You just do. Okay. Everything costs something. Sometimes it's actual money. Sometimes it's non-monetary things. For instance, it was good for LSU football that Kayshawn had a big day today. Okay, and for some reason, the LSU Tigers, when they come play the Saints in New Orleans, they go off. If Malik Neighbors doesn't tear his ACL, he's going for 500 yards versus the Saints 2 weeks ago. Okay, but Kayshawn had a career day versus the Saints today. All right, so Kayshawn was amazing. He was amazing, but there was a lot of off the field cost that came with it. All right, so there's cost with every single thing. Okay. So with Brian Kelly, let's just say he were to go to Penn State. A lot of you wouldn't necessarily care too much if Brian Kelly went to Penn State at this juncture, based on what you've seen with your eyes. So what would it cost LSU? Well, it would actually save LSU a good chunk of money, because let's just say that the off chance that Brian Kelly's tenure gets really rancid, like James's tenure did at Happy Valley, Penn State is paying a premium cost to get that done. And the only reason that Brian Kelly's name is even being brought up, one big SEC account, Michael W. Braden, tweeted it out. He's probably the biggest SEC-only podcaster. Trying to catch him. But, and I do things differently on my SEC channel, but still, he does a good job. He tweets out something, and then, you know, 2 of you sent that to me before. I don't think there's any interest there other than Brian Kelly being from the Midwest. And there you go. So a lot of you want him to take this job if it were offered to him, because it would relieve you of the cost of paying the buyout. So there is that aspect of it, right? Where the buyout that you would have to pay if things got very, very, very diabolically rancid would be relieved. So that would be, to me, the bigger benefit than him leaving, because he's not a bad coach. I don't think any one of you would say Brian Kelly is a bad coach at LSU. He just hasn't been as great as a lot of you would want. And I'm not just saying that because of the lack of results. Every week, I provide you specificity, actual specific things, coaching-wise, that he needs to do a better job of. Okay? Speaking of 2019, oh, this is a good one. I think Tamarcus Cooley and AJ Halsey, are they better than Jacoby Stevens and Grant Delpit? Yes, I do. Not a hot take either. I mean, Delpit won the Thorpe, but a lot of you know that story. Okay, he should have won it the year before, and he was given it for the 2019 team, and he was still good. He wasn't as bad as people let it out to be. I'll go through it really quickly. So Delpit was more of a strong safety than a free safety. Then the final season came, and we lost John Battle, and John Battle is a somewhat friend of the channel, and Battle was a free safety. Okay, so he goes, and then and there was a few other names mixed in there. So then Grant Delpit becomes a free safety, and Jacoby Stevens, who is a strong safety, built like a strong safety. Delpit has to move to free safety, and he wasn't as good, but he still was very good and still made some very underrated plays. I don't know if we beat Auburn without Grant Delpit making a few plays in that game, which ironically, Jacoby Stevens got SEC Player of the Week in that game. But the truth is, this safety duo has been better than them. And those two were good. Now, let's not get it twisted. Those two were good. But Halsey and Cooley have been better. Okay? Now, we'll either have the pro career as good as Grant Delpit. Probably not, because Grant Delpit's been a good pro. He's not been an elite pro. Now, is this the best safety duo? No. Brandon Taylor and Eric Reed, clear. There's probably a few others, but those two, I would definitely say clear. These two, but it's still a really, really, really good duo. How about that? I also think some of these shortcomings of what happens in our front seven has been masked by how good the defensive backfield for LSU has been. Okay? Dang, Damien, everyone's asking about your hat. I was supposed to write a note down about Damien's hat. My wife is getting on me about my style. Let me see what's the arrow mark here. I'm gonna get Jace Max to cut something about that. Jace Max in the chat. He's not in here tonight. What the hell? Why is this pen out of ink? I got a Rotolo's calzone today. Rotolo's, please sponsor the channel. I don't cost a lot. I'll bring some serious ROI to your company. Yeah, James Franklin got canned. Okay, so Dane, of course, that name gets mentioned because it generates clicks. Here's the thing. There's some schools that generate more traffic than others. LSU generates more traffic than any other school. Now, I'm not saying LSU is the biggest rating school. I'm not going to say that they bring in the biggest number because they don't. TJ became a member. Welcome. The biggest The biggest schools that generate the biggest numbers are Ohio State and Alabama. All right. They are the creme de la creme when it comes to this sport. They just move the needle. Ohio State moves the damn needle. They just do. I would say per video where what I've done with the name Ohio State attached to it has the highest RPM, the highest view count. Their fans eat up content. They really, really, really do. But I don't think Ohio State generates the same kind of clicks that LSU and LSU-related athletes do. Okay? Anything Livy Dunn, millions of clicks. Anything Odell Beckham, millions of clicks. So, that's a different kind of click than my click, obviously, with LSU football breakdown, where those two are massive celebrities. Yeah, Pegasus, that would be part of the deal. That's not going to happen. That will not happen. But TJ, welcome to the membership, man. Jose says, how do you forget about Mansour Delane? Well, we're talking about safeties, I think. The truth, Jose. Okay. Actually, Jose, I'm going to push back on that a little bit. How do you forget about Mansour Delane? Well, it's easy to forget about him in a broadcast because they don't throw to him. Do not throw his way. Lane Kiffin admitted it publicly. He said, we are not throwing to Mansour Delane's side. We're not going to do it. I wouldn't do it either. That's lunacy. Let me see. So, yeah, I mean, one guy, I've never spoken to this guy in my life. All right. And I just want to put this out here. Okay. This isn't anything you should fear. I'm not going to go anywhere. And if I did, your lives would move on just fine, if we're being honest. Okay. But I do want to put this out here because if this were to happen to me, I do not have the same safety net as this guy does. I would like to think it could be totally different. But something happened to Aaron Murray today that I fear every single day because I do what I do. Okay, so Aaron Murray is a very talented college football personality. I like Aaron Murray a lot. I think he does a great job. Never spoken to him in my life. I think I might have interviewed him one time at SEC when he was a player, ironically. But today, and if the YouTube overlords are listening to this, please do not delete my channel. I am beholden to you. Y'all are my paycheck, okay? But today on Twitter, Aaron Murray's YouTube channel got deleted, okay? He does it with another offensive lineman whose name I forget. It's something McLean, okay? Not to get confused, obviously, with Bruce Willis. But YouTube just deleted his channel, okay? And I have no idea as to why. And I saw a tweet earlier where it said, hey, YouTube said, hey, we've made our decision. We're deleting it. And they deleted it for spam and all kinds of stuff. And they do somewhat similar stuff to what I do. Okay. Y'all, if that were to happen to me, I'm screwed. I would have to go to Walmart, and nothing against Walmart, but I would have to do something. Start selling feet pics. So if that were to happen to me, obviously, and they were to delete my channel and all the videos I've done, I would need to start something new, and I hope all of you would subscribe. It is crazy, though, how easy it is to forget someone. Even someone like me, I would like to think I'm somewhat talented. I don't have, a cushy job. Everything I make is every money you get, every cent that you give goes to me. Now, I do pay one other person, Jay Smacks, to help me with stuff occasionally, and he's really damn talented. But that it happens. It's scary. Okay, it is very, very, very scary. Whereas, with I almost said McElroy, with Murray and McLean, I believe they have jobs at ESPN. Okay, I have no idea, Palermo. I really don't, because I break down footage myself. I do. Okay. So I don't know how they do. I don't know how they go about it. But every time I upload a video, I do go through a copyright check. I do. And more often than not, I do pass them. Okay. And there's certain things you have to, and I don't want to get into it because it's boring, but I don't know. I've watched some of Aaron Murray's breakdown content. Like, to me, if you're going to delete it, it would need to be something like it's amazing that gets deleted, but you have all this gross spam. Like, there's so much slop content being created now, and you're just like, what the hell? I got to go to Rumble? Who else is on Rumble? What's the audience like on Rumble? I don't know. I really don't know a whole lot about Rumble. I've seen Rumble. I'm down to Rumble. What is Rumble paying? If you have a contact at Rumble, I'll go to Rumble. Hell, I will freaking have Michael Buffer do my intro. Well, hey, Versus he, welcome. So, I'm not going to go into a whole other Garrett rant because we did it for an hour with our guest. There's no one that does this that has defended Garrett more than me. Okay, like, and there's a lot of Garrett defenders and believers out there. I'm not saying I was on an island, but it was strange, right? It was very, very, very strange where during this offseason, the tide kind of turned a little bit where I got labeled being too homer to Jaden and then too critical of Garrett. Okay, which is kind of wild to me. My Jaden defense was kind of homerish because he's one of my favorite quarterbacks ever. But it's strange. It's very, very, very strange when I feel like I'm really am straight down the middle with a slight lean towards a positive with almost every evaluation that I do. Okay. Palermo says there's some nut jobs out there. Oh, so Rumble is conservative. Oh, I'm not touching Powell. So is it all political channels and all of that? I'm not. And look, I'm not gonna ever get political unless it is LSU related, and sometimes it is politics is LSU related with sports. But I don't know. It's scary. It's very scary because I love YouTube. I do. Like, I just started doing TikTok and Instagram for Power Hour NFL and Power Hour LSU or SEC, excuse me. Oh, okay. All right, it's starting to come to me. So, wasn't the guy that's the FBI assistant now? Now for sure YouTube's going to flag me because I think that I'm going down this road. But Dan Bongino was on Rumble before he became the. Okay, it's all coming back to me. Rumble's kind of green. I think I have the most balanced analysis. Blake is doom and gloom. Matt Moscona is a pretty boy. Is this a Moscona burner account? No, Moscona's a dashing, fine young gentleman. You are the rainbow for us Tiger fans. Okay, I will gladly be the rainbow. Hopefully there's a pot of gold at the end of it. Oh, Matt B. Great's great. He's great. I like old Matt B. Great. Oh, I forgot Patrick Mahomes was playing football tonight. I gotta put the game on in the background while we take a few more here. Y'all don't understand how Mahomes pilled I've become. It's very sad, like how much I've adored watching Mahomes. Like I don't understand how good he is. And I will say this: this is going to come off as such a bad Mahomes glaze, which you shouldn't give a crap because, well, we beat him when we played him. Now he went off on us, but still, Patrick Mahomes is so freaking good at football. Like he's so freaking good. And I think part of my Mahomes hatred for a while was because it was Mahomes versus Burrow. Like I know I'm not like standing on like some rock, if you will, saying, "Hey, Patrick Mahomes is like great" or anything. But when you really sit and watch him and you watch all the other quarterbacks in the NFL, you start seeing things a little bit differently. You really, really, really do. Ask me, an NFL film study analyst. All right. He's so freaking good, y'all. I watch Naked Football. They are good. They are good. There's a lot of good football channels out there. Yeah, Naked Football. What's crazy about Naked Football is the guy's voice on there is like so smooth. I was like, God, I wish I had a voice like that. I like Naked Football. The best sports YouTube creator ever is Michael McKelvey. He's the best. Objectively true statement. But if you're not a thinker, or if you don't have a background in philosophy, I have a minor in philosophy, then you're not going to like it. You got to really think about things deeply. I like to think about things philosophically, which can be detrimental at times. What other football breakdown channels do I watch? Not really a whole heck of a lot because I'm so busy during the year doing mine. I probably watch more NFL breakdowns because I feel like I do still watch more college. The problem for me is that I love both of them so damn much. I really, really, really do. I love college and the NFL a whole heck of a lot. Um, hmm. I got a shout out from a Tennessee channel recently for one of my breakdowns, and an Oklahoma podcaster named Alan Kinney shows a lot of love for my Oklahoma breakdowns. Obviously, Brooks Austin is amazing. He is amazing, and he knows a lot about football. He really, really, really does. He definitely knows more than me. So yeah, I give Brooks a lot of credit, dude. God, Chris Jones is a beast. It's amazing, dude, when a legend gets called out, and then the next week he reminds you, hey, I'm that mother effing dude. Chris Sims, yeah. Chris Sims is good. Mm. Trevor Sikkema, I met Trevor at the Super Bowl. Nice guy. Handsome guy. Goodness gracious. That's part of my problem is that I do not have, I'm not a looker. Got too much gray hair and I'm too chubby. Eccles was at left guard, but to your point, he did do some good things. I do think as far as like the copyright stuff, okay. This will be the last little late night rant that I'll go on. And this is just a tiny one, okay? And this is where it gets into philosophical stuff. Why I like this is an even bigger reason why I like Michael McKelvey, Brooks Austin, and a lot of the guys that I do follow. Okay. And a lot of the accounts and stuff. And this gets very preachy. All right. This gets very, 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 very preachy. But especially now, when you watch a creator or a piece of content, I want you to think when you are watching it, how original is it and how much work went into it? Because I do think it matters now because it used to be when you created any piece of content, it took a lot of work. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that everybody that works hard for something or works hard to produce something, it's worth a damn. I produced many of videos that turned out to not be good and it's whatever. But there is a difference between people that are really trying to create content and people that are aggregators. And the people that are aggregators are always going to have larger followings on average because they are taking an average piece of content and putting it off as their own. And you could just do that and just rebrand it, put your own logos on it, and boom. And I do that too. I use other people's photos and stuff like that. But I think anyone that's watched me would know, like, yeah, I do the aggregation thing from time to time, but it's rare. Everything I want to put out there is stuff that I put out. Whereas it's become a lucrative business to just basically say, hey, here's some shit. Let me just slap it together and make it my own. So I do want you to think about that. Like, I've spoken to Brooks Austin, I think once via Twitter DMs. Like there's so much work that goes into doing the stuff that he's able to do, and it's honestly a lot of more stuff behind the scenes than actually talking into a microphone. Oh, you think Scone's voice is the best? Do you think my voice is decent? Hopefully, my voice is listenable. Listenable. And we're going a little long here. Your voice does get a little tired. Plus, I ate too much of my aunt's blueberry pound cake. So I'm feeling a little stuffed. Ate the calzone, and then my aunt brought me some blueberry pound cake. Come on, dude. Once again, it's Mahomes, dude. It's freaking Mahomes. I would answer if you. I was the one asking you, Chuck, if my voice is good. I was asking you. You're the voice guy. Matt does have a great voice. I'll give him that. I'll give him a lot of stuff. Matt's really good. Mm. Don't have to hit me up, man. I'd love to do it. So I do remember this. my Hunt Palmer story. Actually, I'll save it because it was one thing that he and I debated where I was right and he was wrong, and he and I debated it for so long. Now, I will say it makes me look really good, but in retrospect, the conversation at the time was an actual conversation. It was a debate between a number 1 overall pick in the NFL. And but yeah, I liked Hunt. I did. Still do. I just haven't talked to him in forever. Chase Daniels. Yeah. Scott Fisher. I think Scott Fisher is not a breakdown content guy, though. I think he's just a good YouTuber. You know, it was interesting. So I tweeted out one thing, and you know, it's so hard when one tweet gets passed around a lot, and they it then kind of becomes law. And so I tweeted out, "Hey, I'm just really happy about this 2025 LSU Tigers team. When you do analysis, you're mostly going, if you do honest analysis, you're mostly going to be critical, or it's going to seem like it's mostly critical because people remember the bad more than the good." But I just tweeted out this morning because you know, there's a lot of people on this team playing hard and making it work. And then, you know, people say you're softballing it or whatever, but I am genuinely happy for this team. We're 5-1, and we're clearly going to be a 9-3 team. I think most of you, if you were asked to say, hey, what is LSU's final record going to be? I think most of you would say 9-3. And my prediction before the season was a 9-3 team. I felt after the Clemson game, hey, we should go 10-2. But now that the sample size has grown, I think a lot of us would say, hey, the most likely situation here is either 9-3 or 8-4. Would 9-3 be enough to get into the playoff? I don't know. I think, and Jed, thank you so much for the super chat. I do think I've had so many dreams about this, literal dreams, that LSU Oklahoma is going to be a play-in game, basically. Like, both teams are going to go in there basically 9-2, or one's going to go in there 8-3 and the other 9-2. And the winner of that game gets the 11 or 12 slot or whatever the hell it could be. But A&M's a better team than us. Alabama's a better team than us. And I don't think any one of us would disagree with that. That doesn't mean we can't beat them. But if it were to play out where Texas A&M beats us, Alabama beats us, would Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Western Kentucky, and Oklahoma get you across the finish line? Probably not. Probably not. Okay. But if you were to lose to Texas A&M, but beat Alabama on the road, win all the other games except for Oklahoma, a road win at Alabama that 9-3 LSU team has a lot better shot of getting in. Look at Pierce. Pierce hitting me. Pierce just literally hit me. Literally just hit, out of all people. Pierce just hit me the one game at a time thing. I will say Brian Kelly's 1-0 thing, it's mostly worked. We have gone 1-0 5 times this year. We have gone 0-1 once. Thank you, Chucky. I appreciate it, man. I just try and do my best. But look, I've shared it before. Blake Ruffino is so good. He's really good. He's really talented at what he does. He's not everybody's cup of tea. Hell, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. That's the brilliance of it. So there you go. All right, y'all. We'll talk to you soon. We will have an LSU offensive film study tomorrow night at 6 p.m. We'll see you then. And that's Power Hour LSU. Boom. Hold on. I got some good news. Hold on. What's the good news, you might ask? Guess what? Jaden Daniels plays football tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. And he's playing the nail painter himself, Caleb Williams, for Bears to be haunted about the horrible decision to not draft Caleb number 1. Tonight, we're doing Calzones. Let's go. Yeah, Pegasus, go watch my Geometry film study and send me an email. powerhourlsu@gmail.com. You've never sent me an email before, Pegasus. Go watch. I'm serious. Please go watch my Geometry film study. I made a huge speculation in it, and I think I'm going to get some blowback from it.